Learning jazz violin is tough, and one of the things that makes it really tough is learning harmony. As a classical or folk musician, it's often the case that we've never really had to think about harmony in order to perform or in order to learn a piece of music. But when we learn jazz, it's one of the most important things that we have to do. And often as jazz violinists, we come to playing jazz and we are bombarded with a bunch of terms and things that we've just never heard of or never really had to think about. Well, in this video, I'm going to help debunk some of those things, as well as giving you some techniques and ideas as to how you can learn harmony. Stick around for the end of the video where I'll tell you something that I always do when I'm learning the harmony for a new jazz tune. This video is actually a clip from a much longer video that's part of my beginners class on Patreon. My beginners class on Patreon is a place that you can learn to become a jazz violinist from never having played jazz violin before to being able to play and improvise in a jazz style. There are a bunch of different courses on learning to play jazz on there, as well as regular check-ins with me on Zoom. If you want to get involved, check out the link in the description. But for now, let's check out the video. We're just going to focus on chord 1 and chord 5. So the change from 5 to 1 is the most important change in Western music, and that includes jazz. We've got D7 moving up to G major. Here we've got a dominant chord, which is a major triad with a flat 7 on top, moving up a fourth to chord 1 in its sort of home key of G major. And when you hear that chord change, it really sounds like we're going home. The more you play jazz and the more you improvise over chord sequences, you're going to realize that most chord sequences are built around this change. Most of the time, if I'm looking at a new tune, I'm looking for those 5 to 1s. It helps me work out what key each section of the tune is in. Let's play the arpeggios for 5 to 1 in the key of G major. We're going to play D7 and we're going to play G major 7. D7, 2, 3, 4. Now let's try and do that all the way up to the top of first position. 2, 3, 4. Now let's go to the bottom of first position and then back to the root. It's a way that I really like to practice arpeggios and scales, going from root to root, then to the top of the position I'm in, then down to the bottom of the position I'm in, and then land on the root again. I'll do it again. 2, 3, 4. Let's do the same thing with G major 7. 2, 3, 4. What we're going to do is we're going to practice moving between those two chords. I'll have a go first and then you have a go. What I'm going to do is I'm going to play long notes, one note per bar, and I can pick from any of the notes in the chord that I'm playing over. The chord sequence that we're going to be playing over is D7 for 2 bars, G major for 2 bars. Have a little listen to mine. Alright, now your turn. 1, 2, 3, 4. One more time. D7 to G7. And lastly, the thing that I always do when I'm learning the harmony for a new tune. I always try to make sure that I can create a chord backing using double stops on my violin. A couple of rules I try to go by when creating chordal backing. 2 notes at once, obviously, so I try to pick 2 interesting notes from the chords. Usually try to have at least 1/3 or a 7th in there of the chord that I'm playing. I always try to stay on the first 2 strings of the violin. So that's always keeping either a third or a seventh in there. There'll either be a root or a fifth as well, but always either the third or the seventh. And staying on the first two strings, because the violin's quite a high instrument. We need to make sure that we're trying to stay as low as we possibly can. This is me having a go using the song I Can't Give You Anything But Love. So that was my simple chordal backing for the tune I Can't Give You Anything But Love. It's the thing that I always try to do when I'm learning a new standard. You're doing a bunch of different things, but mainly you're working on your understanding of harmony. Thanks very much for checking out my video. If you are interested in learning with me or checking out the rest of this video, plus PDFs of everything that I do, regular check-ins on Zoom, weekly guided practice sessions, go and check out my Patreon. Link in the description. Goodbye for now.